Against Barnsley, the 40-1 shots. David Pleat and John Motson were there.
8,500 Barnsley fans here today are prepared to put their 7-0 defeat on this ground in the Premiership back in October behind them and hope their team can do the same. And they've been encouraged by the team news they've heard from the Manchester United camp. Andy Cole, who scored a hat-trick against Barnsley that day, is one of several United players either injured, suspended or rested. Even his potential replacement, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, went down with a stomach bug today. So another Norwegian, Erik Nevland, 20 years old, makes his first start up front. Scholes and Butt are suspended. Gary Neville and David Beckham are substitutes. Phil Neville plays in midfield. Barnsley are not at full strength either. Darren Barnard and Darren Sheridan are both suspended. Jan Arge Fjørtoft is cup-tied. So 34-year-old John Hendry partners Ashley Ward, scorer of some important goals recently, and it's a big day for defender Chris Morgan. He was 20 on Friday and starts only his 4th senior game. And as referee Mike Riley prepares to start this cup tie, what are your thoughts, David Pleat, on this understrength Manchester United team?
Well, certainly Barnsley will need little motivation, apart from trying to overturn that big early season reverse. They'll be buoyed by the fact that United have the key men missing, and really Barnsley have been improving and United have been stuttering, so maybe a far greater opportunity this afternoon than initially suggested when the draw was made.
Eden, the right wing-back, feeding Bullock. And here comes Hendry. Ward's in the centre waiting. It's John Hendry for Barnsley. And Redfern's coming in as well. A header clears for a corner.
There's good play by Henry, and he did look up, but at the back post, Ashley Ward and Christian, the fullback, was coming in too. They had spare men right deep. But a good break by Henry.
And Deseu is forward for the corner, as well as Christian, and Ward is waiting to come in as well. It's too long for Ward, and it was headed by Bozancic initially. Here's Moses, McClare, Giggs with Redfern, free kick to United. Irwin to Giggs, looking for Nevland. Sheringham on the far side, others closer to him, like McClare here. Irwin. Oh, well, I think Pallister got caught on the Achilles there by Ashley Ward. This is going to be a booking, I think, David.
They certainly caught him in the lower calf, and really there was nothing to be gained by Ward making that tackle in that position at all. But it's interesting up front, Hendry, who was quite a quick player certainly when he was younger, is playing against Berg, and Ashley Ward, who's better in the air, is playing against Pallister. I wonder if they've got enough pace between them to exploit anything in the United rearguard.
And volleyed forward by Jonsson. Oh, and they didn't pick up the runner there, Barnsley, and Ronnie Jonsson's away. Nevland's waiting for the pullback, so is Sheringham, and it didn't reach either of them.
Fine forward run by Jonsson, but I have to say, looked suspiciously offside when that ball was delivered. Gets to the byline, a slightly wide angle, and tremendous covering there at the near post.
He was trying to pick out Ryan Giggs, but I agree with you. I think Barnsley would have had a case there for saying, why wasn't there a flag? Anyway, it's a corner to Manchester United. Berg is up, so is Jonsson, so is Pallister. And Berg's in the heart of the action there. And it's still not really away, and almost off the line, and still it's not clear. And Watson, the goalkeeper, did well really to hold his position and let it all evolve in front of him. Deseu, in fact, was slightly hurt in the melee that ensued.
All 10 Barnsley players in that 18-yard box scrapping away for this ball. Everyone competing, everyone fighting to keep that ball away from the goal, and in the end, fortune favours the brave defenders. I think Ward's got a cut. He's got his mouth, he went into a tussle, it may be from that defensive efforts of Barnsley just previously, but he's... referee has to stop the game if he sees any sign of blood.
After the scramble in the goal mouth, back there, De Zeu, who was heroic in getting the ball away, it was left hobbling. It looks like a groin to me.
Well, that would be a great misfortune. Matty Appleby is a centre-back. He likes playing as the centre-back in the middle of a three-man defensive area. That's where he played so effectively before he arrived at Barnsley. Started very well at Barnsley, has since lost his place. They've gone for more stature. He's a very good reader of the game.
So a bad cut on the mouth for Ashley Ward, a groin injury for Ayaan De Zeu, and the latter means a substitution. Matty Appleby to come on in defence, and Ashley Ward is going to have to go off for stitches. So not only have Barnsley substituted a player, they're down to 10 men as well. Really unfortunate period of the game for them. One man off, two men off in fact, one replaced, one still receiving treatment and another one booked. That's forward by Berg. There's Ryan Giggs, and he tries to get it through to Brian McClare, and that's hit the post. Oh, Barnsley have escaped. McClare's effort came back off the post. And that's a foul by Phil Neville. Well, it's a while since McClare scored a goal, but he was close here from Giggs' flick, David.
It was wonderful play by Giggs, really. He came across the line of Barnsley defenders. He knew exactly where McClare was stealthily creeping into. First time shot on the half volley. Unlucky McClare.
Two stitches, I gather, in the mouth of Ashley Ward. He's back on the field. Big reception from the Barnsley fans. That's a long ball by McClare. Neville. Oh, well played by Sheringham. And as the ball comes into McClare, they've got a man over here. McClare, Giggs, Sheringham. Johnson wants it. Gets it to Irwin. Giggs. On by McClare, Nevland's there. Two defenders with him, a real old scramble at corner results.
Well, a nice fast in-swinging cross there with his right foot delivered by Giggs. There you see the sandwich at the back post, which caused the appeals from the crowd behind the goal there.
That was for handball against Morgan, they're appealing, David. His arm was up as he jumped, but he's got away with it. Giggs is going to take the corner with his left foot from the far side. Sheringham looking to get into that near post area that he often does from these, and in fact that's exactly the corner they've played, but it went behind him, and it's come back again now with Neville. That's intended for Nevland, it's too long. So Barnsley back to full strength with the reappearance of Ward, but they do have Appleby in the defence now in the stead of De Zeu. Mistake by Schmeichel, and can Hendry get there? He can! And Barnsley have taken the lead. A catastrophe for the Manchester United captain and goalkeeper. And John Hendry is the beneficiary. Oh, well, if Schmeichel's made a worse mistake than that in his career, I'd be surprised. It's a simple enough back pass, he's well out of his goal, and he slices it with his right foot, and John Hendry gets there first, and Barnsley have taken the lead in the 38th minute.
Well, I'm just surprised that Schmeichel tried to take the ball on the bounce. I think he could have taken the pace off the ball before delivering it, but of course the man is so certain and so super confident of everything he does. He sliced it. Hendry, despite his age, I think he's something like how old, John, now?
34.
34 years old. He was still sprightly enough to get onto that ball first. Schmeichel will have his head in his towel at half-time. Alex will be urging them on now. It's such a vital psychological time just before half-time. If ever they wanted a spring in their step, if ever they wanted to be roused at half-time, well, they've got the perfect medicine.
Barnsley, the underdogs from the bottom of the Premiership, take the lead in this cup tie against the league champions and league leaders, and Schmeichel will want to just, as you say, bury his head somewhere for a few minutes. Alec Ferguson could never legislate for that happening. Quite extraordinary. Oh, and they've done the same thing themselves. It's Ryan Giggs. Magnificent anticipation by David Motson has saved the day for Barnsley. And here they are on the attack with Nicky Eden. That was nearly a case of déjà vu. Tale of two goalkeepers, but Watson excelled himself, David.
And indeed, the quickest player on the field. Arguably, Ryan Giggs was the man who was given that opportunity to get there before Dave Watson. Splendid reading of the game by Watson.
And the score remains Manchester United 0, Barnsley 1. And are we on the verge of a cup shock, or is Giggs going to turn it round here? It's a good bit of play, and Teddy Sheringham came in for United, and that's going to be the equaliser. It's 1-1, and it's Sheringham. Right on cue, and no one more relieved in the ground than Peter Schmeichel.
Well, once again, wonderful build-up play. There we see it. Giggs is producing all sorts of flicks and clever touches, but once Sheringham saw the whites of the post, he knew he didn't have to power it. He was going to place it. Cool as you like. Splendid finish, but what impetuosity, what cleverness by Giggs.
Yes, Sheringham's goal, Giggs' pass, Giggs who'd spurned a chance a moment earlier when Watson had come to meet him, but it's back all square now. Schmeichel's error for the moment is wiped out, and it's 1-1 at Old Trafford. Goodness me, Ward got that inside. Oh, and still a chance on the far side, and Schmeichel makes a save from Ashley Ward there. Perhaps atoning somewhat for what happened earlier. Goodness me, that could have been 2-1 to Barnsley.
Well, this is a real cut and thrust tie.
Here's Ward again. Oh, the drama of the FA Cup has surfaced here. It's a free kick, and the Schmeichel here does everything right this time, David.
He did indeed. When the ball broke, it broke kindly to Ward. Schmeichel was on him so quickly that Ward didn't really have a chance to manoeuvre the ball around his body. And I think both managers, for different reasons, will be relatively satisfied.
I would think so. John Hendry's got a great FA Cup scoring record. He took advantage of the monumental blunder by Schmeichel to give Barnsley great hope. But soon afterwards, another man who's got a good FA Cup pedigree, Teddy Sheringham, was able to come along and equalise for Manchester United. And at half-time, it's 1-1. David Beckham is required after all. He comes on as a second-half substitute for Ronnie Johnson, who appeared to be limping a bit towards the end of the first half, and I think Posh Spice is in the stand watching as Beckham takes part in the second half. And indeed he started in a wide position, and that means Phil Neville has moved into central midfield, David.
Yes, well, Phil Neville, I was impressed with him in the first half, playing in the uncustomary position, wide on the right. Uses both feet well, and I think that's a terrific advantage for a player.
This is Neville now, and it's Beckham, and it's Clegg now. Oh, and Giggs has stolen it from the far side.
Well, he had a nice target to aim at, Giggs there. He timed his run beautifully. It was a lovely ball in. Watson held it relatively comfortably. He had a nice target.
Now, Bullock, who lost his balance but regained it. Ward is to the right, Hendry's through the centre. Oh, and he's got in behind the defenders here, John Hendry. Good block in the end, but he caught them out initially.
Terrific tracking there by young Clegg. Hendry got a yard, good start. There you see Clegg coming across, tremendous blocking.
Moses forward, so is Krishan. And that's Krishan's header. And still not really away, that's Bozancic.
Well, that was rather wasteful. was in a wide position. Danny Wilson reminding them the importance of getting tight.
Old Trafford hasn't quite proved the fortress that you think it normally is over the last few weeks. This is Neville, and now it's Pallister. It's not to say there won't be some bombardment in this second half. Pallister carried that an awful long way. Got it back from Giggs, put it into the centre. Oh, it went behind Sheringham, and that just enabled Morgan to clear.
Once again, wonderful invention by that man Giggs. Look at that. And Pallister doing the sensible thing, pulling the ball back. Fine run. That's clever football. An elastic's clearance.
Berg and Pallister looking to come in on the corner here. Oh, and they both got there at the same moment. It's gone out for another corner. Beckham's going to take this one. Berg and Pallister still there. And Barnsley had to pull everybody back then. Alex Ferguson with quite a lot on his mind currently. You'd think that the European Champions League is still a major dream here. He watched Monaco play indeed on Friday night, United's next opponents. Here comes McClare. But Barnsley pick it up. This is where they're dangerous. It's Hendry with Ward going to the right. Berg's having to track him. Hendry's on his own on this side of the pitch, but somebody stumbled and Hendry gets away. Ward is still far side. That was an inspired run by John Hendry. He was all by himself.
Well, when Ward pulled away on the right-hand side, made a good space for Hendry. Hendry decided to attack the defence. When he went past, it was Sheringham doing his work for the team, showing the importance of unselfish team play. Sheringham.
Absolutely. Barnsley still making statements, still showing us that they're very much in the heart of this cup tie, and they have been, to be honest, more or less all through, as United have the ball here with Beckham. Chance, and Watson's got a hand to it. Oh, he did really well. He made his own luck, the goalkeeper, to foil Beckham.
Well, I think David Watson's had several examples today of how to run the last line of defence. His covering of his back players has been exemplary. Often United hit that longer ball, looking for the pace of Giggs to search in behind the defenders, but Watson has been a superb last line.
Challenge was by Phil Neville. He took the ball, says the referee. Play goes on. And that passes to Jordi Cruyff. And Giggs has made a striking run inside, but Cruyff was brought down. It's a free kick. Barnsley is saying, what about the one at the other end, to the referee? And somebody's said too much. I suspect it may be Bullock.
Well, of course, Neville's challenge has nothing to do with that challenge, and Neville took the ball cleanly. The referee was on the spot.
Irwin moves away, Giggs is there, Beckham's there. His shot hits the wall, here he is again, the lofted cross. Clegg is in there. Oh, and that curl just past the post from young Michael Clegg. Would have been some moment for the 20-year-old if that had just dropped in from Beckham's free kick.
Yeah, Beckham for once not getting the right elevation on the ball, but Clegg went in well there. He's only a small fella. Tremendous competition, I think, at full-back at this club with the two Neville brothers. Young Curtis, who I think is away on a youth trip at the moment. Irwin, who can play on the right side as well as the left. So, important game for Clegg.
Yeah, there's so many young players coming through this current crop, aren't there, at Old Trafford? You really are watching almost a rerun of what happened in the great Matt Busby years here in the 50s. Of course, that was remembered fittingly with the anniversary. And here come Barnsley, and Schmeichel's got to be quick, and he was.
It's a real riveting game now. Delicately poised. Here we see that lovely little touch. And Schmeichel doing as Watson's done so well at the other end, coming out and taking that ball. Lovely return pass by Hendry.
It was Basancic, wasn't it, who gave it and then went for the return.
Yeah, it was indeed.
And Cruyff needs to just touch this on from a United point of view to David Beckham. Giggs is in the centre, Sheringham's there as well. Here's Giggs, but he didn't get the touch, and again, Barnsley really play their way well out of defence. This is Bullock, and he's got two to his right. Ashley Ward is one of them, Hendry's the other. Oh, it's Bullock again, and this time he's found Hendry. Oh, what a chance that was! A glaring opportunity for Barnsley to perhaps win this cup tie.
Well, Hendry, the hero of the first half, villain there. Great opportunity, a little bit fortunate to come back. Bullock did well. Wonderful effort in front of goal. Hendry will surely come off now. I felt he was tiring. That's how sometimes that's shown, his tiredness.
A bit late in life for Pallister to think about playing as a centre-forward, but it's an emergency situation here for United. That's his header on. Now that's Phil Neville to Irwin. And Phil Neville again. Here's Gary Neville. Touched on by Giggs. Cruyff. Beckham. But Barnsley are pushing out, closing Manchester United down. That's a good ball by Beckham. He tries to pick out Teddy Sheringham. Pallister's in the penalty area waiting, so is Giggs. Cruyff's also there. There's the... Oh, and Sheringham has the shot. Beckham appeals for handball on the cross. That's not been given.
That's a great turn by Sheringham. Came to him at a difficult height and he twisted quickly. Also a wonderful pass, reverse pass by Beckham. But there's Danny Wilson. He'll be delighted with the efforts of his team today. They've shown great resistance, great team spirit. He'll be so impressed by the improvement in his group since that awful time earlier in the season when everything went against them and they conceded 7.
They might do even better than get a draw. This is Bullock. Ward's in the centre. Little's in there as well now, the substitute. And the pullback finds Redfern. And here's Little. Oh, it's a penalty, is it? No, it's not. It's not been given. Barnsley chased the referee. But no decision there in their favour from Mike Riley. It was Andy Little who appeared to be pulled down. And Manchester United breathe again. Well, that must have been a tight call. But play goes on. And what drama we would have had there if the referee had pointed to the spot.
Well, Sod's Law would have said that had a penalty been given, Schmeichel might just have produced something dramatic after his mistake in the first half. We have to say he's been rarely troubled in the game.
Well, this is true, but Barnsley have made such a spirited fight of this cup tie. You've got to give them credit, but here's Jordi Cruyff for United. And Giggs wants it played through, and here's a chance. And it's gone agonisingly wide, but I think the defender gets an enormous amount of credit. Ryan Giggs was through, but it was A.D. Moses, and I think it's his touch that takes the ball past the post. The number 5. Yeah, deflection on Giggs' shot. Corner. Difficult for the goalkeeper, he gets a free kick, but the Barnsley supporters, having sighed with relief there, are still wondering about what happened at the other end. And it was Andy Little. Well, I tell you what, David, is that man before ball? It certainly is.
Yes, indeed. And Mike Riley, a Yorkshire referee from Leeds, I believe, has made a brave decision.
Well, it's easy.
Not made a brave decision.
Yeah, it's easy here when you see it for the second and third time. It looks, doesn't it, a clear-cut penalty from that angle. Barnsley have got to be said to be unlucky.
Certainly, that challenge prevented Little getting to the ball, and the ball was not touched.
Forward by Phil Neville, the header on. Here's Giggs. He's got Pallister with him. Does he need him? No, he doesn't. Giggs. Watson's made a save. Surely there was a push there, and it hasn't been given. And it's Jordi Cruyff. Well, a Barnsley player was clearly pushed out the way. And Mike Riley's got some sorting out to do here. There are 2 players injured, but there was an offence in there. If you watch, look at that. The player pushed over there by the United forward. It was Cruyff who had the shot. Watson did ever so well. The Barnsley supporters are heralding what looks now like a replay. Still the referee checks his watch, the 3rd minute of stoppage time. This is forward by Clegg. Pallister's in there, here's Cruyff. And it's still loose, and Beckham has the shot that's deflected. Giggs. Header inside towards Beckham. Oh, no one's worked harder than Giggs for Manchester United. He's trying to get Cruyff through here. And that's the sort of cover that Barnsley have managed to find all afternoon. Giggs indeed is thwarted again, but still they come, and still Krishan clears.
Well, Alex is famous for his stopwatch antics, but Riley's keeping everyone waiting at the moment.
Certainly is, as this long throw comes in from Neville. Pallister there to flick it on, and still Barnsley have to defend. And this is Ashley Ward, and there's the whistle. It goes back to Oakwell. A magnificent fighting performance by Barnsley. It could even have been better. They had a penalty appeal. Johnny Wilson's team turned down in the closing minutes, but they've earned their draw. They've washed away the memory of the 7-0 thrashing. Peter Schmeichel shakes his head because Barnsley's supporters celebrate the fact that they've earned a replay. Perhaps the last thing that Manchester United wanted, but they have to go back to Oakwell a week on Wednesday, sandwiched between important league games and European commitments. They're heavily now into a fixture congestion, but Barnsley have earned the right after a fighting draw here at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 1, Barnsley 1.
Danny, first of all, let's get the obvious question out of the way. What did you make of the penalty?
I think it's the same as everybody else did. It was a blatant penalty. I mean, you know, whether or not you're under pressure and Radin look a little bit, you know, in the defending end of it, we created an opening, you know, and possibly we should have been 2-1 ahead. Whether that would have been an injustice, I don't know, but it was a clear penalty. I mean, the referee had a very good sight of the ball, very good sight of the play, because we looked at his position straight away, and we felt, you know, we just couldn't see any reason why he couldn't give the penalty, but he hasn't given it, and we've got to live by, I should say, lie by his rules or whatever. It's a bit of a shame, really, at the end of the day that we couldn't get the penalty that we thought we deserved.
Against that background, you must feel very hard done by.
No, not at all. I mean, we got a bit of luck with the first goal, didn't we, in all honesty? I mean, it's a mistake by Peter Schmeichel, and that's a rarity in itself, isn't it, you know? So really, I think, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we've got to be thankful for that. But in saying that, John Hendry, you know, he still had a lot to do when Peter miskicked. He made a lot of ground up to put the ball in the net, but as I say, it's not too often you see Peter Schmeichel do that.
I think it was Neil Redfern latched onto a ball that had dropped in the box, and it just seemed to break for me. And just as I was pulling my foot back, Gary Neville came out of nowhere. The next thing I knew, I was on the floor and appealing for a penalty, and the referee said no. You know, and that was the end of that.
He appeared to make no contact with the ball.
No, he didn't. He made contact with the ball after he'd brought me down. But he had to try and tackle me, because it was a last-ditch tackle, because I was pulling my leg back to shoot. I mean, nobody can say I'd have scored, but I was 6 yards out. I'd have fancied myself to score, but I wasn't allowed to proceed with the shot.
Did you get any opportunity to speak to the referee about it?
I asked the referee, I said, yeah, that was a penalty, you missed it. He said, no, he didn't. He touched the ball. I said, he didn't. I said, watch it on TV, you missed it, you made a mistake.
I don't think we'd really found his feet when we came in October, and we give him a lot of respect, and probably too much. But today, you know, we've really gone at him, got stuck in, and it's proved that, you know, we can play against anybody.
We should have won it. The chances we had were some great chances, and we obviously rue the chances missed. Obviously, Peter has made a human error, and these things happen under the new rule for pass-back laws, that you're forced to kick quickly. And he's made an error, which can happen. But we go back in quickly, and Teddy Sheringham's taken a good goal, was well made. And we've hit the post, and we've had a few things. Their counter-attack at times was quite good. And all in all, it was a really exciting cup tie.
You had a chance to see the penalty incident again. What did you make of it?
It was a penalty kick, no doubt about that. It's bad refereeing.
Well, that was honest, and you're not going to disagree.
Not in the slightest. There's no debate about it. It was just a bad refereeing decision, and it probably robbed Barnsley a victory. It's Liddell here. Neville comes around the back of him. High challenge, catches him, goes down. As I say, no debate whatsoever.
Now, what about Manchester United at the moment? They've got a fixture build-up coming up now. They're back in Europe next month. Do you think they've gone off the boil? I know they were missing some star players today, but do you think they've gone off the boil just a little bit at the moment?
Well, they were missing star players, but the team they put on the pitch was still good enough to beat anybody, really. I think they have gone off the boil. The results would state that. But in the last 2 seasons, when they've had a bad time, they've always come back. Last year, they were beaten at Newcastle. They were beaten at Southampton, then at home against Chelsea the year before, at Liverpool, Leeds and Tottenham. The secret always is go 15 undefeated. Now, this is a big test for them because they've got big matches coming in the league, the Champions League and the FA Cup. But they've got a great squad of players. I think that for the first time, they're starting to miss Roy Keane. I mean, when they were firing all cylinders and they were playing a great football, he wasn't missed. This is a time that I think he's competitive but is missed.
Yeah. Now, what about Barnsley? I mean, they've been hammered earlier on in the season, but they keep coming back and they play nice football. I've got a soft spot for them. I'd like them to stay up for a start.
Well, the tactics today, some would say brave, some would say crazy. I would go refreshing. I mean, they were beaten 7-0 here in the league at Old Trafford, and I would have gone, defended the 18-yard line and got everybody behind the ball, because the further you get away from your keeper, the back four that is, the more that can go wrong. If you watch this where they're defending this occasion, they're miles away from the keeper. You need 3 things here. 1, the men in front have got to be pressing the play and closing down quickly. 2, the back four have got to be in line. 3, you need somebody coming off the line quickly. And David Watson today was absolutely magnificent, watching every instance here, how quick he is off his line. And that was the key to the performance. And even when his own player sells him short, watch this for speed off his line. That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, but having said that, Barnsley played some terrific football.
Yeah.
They really did. They knocked it about great. I mean, I can see why they've lost so many goals in the league. I mean, if you, as I say, if you push up and hold a line, there's so much that can go wrong with it. And they've lost 6 at Chelsea, 5 at Arsenal.
But that gives them their attacking options too, doesn't it, by not trying to be so defensive?
There's a Manchester United team firing all cylinders today, in all honesty, would have slaughtered them playing that way.
Yeah, but they didn't.
Well, then Manchester United never fired on all cylinders. As I say, some might say I thought it was refreshing.
All right, refreshing.